I'm going to show you 4 rhythms every improviser needs to know. Now, obviously, there's many different rhythms, okay, but here are 4 that I have identified that are really crucial for all improvisers to know. And then you could take these 4 rhythms and expand from there. So I'm talking about rhythms that will sound like this. So you can see when we play that simple accompaniment and we also add in the blues scale in the right hand, it sounds really cool. Now remember, rhythm is the engine. Okay? Famous jazz drummer Art Blakey used to say that as well. Rhythm is the engine. The drummer is the engine. Okay? So and this is why it's so important to have good rhythm. Let me give you a quick example. So if I'm going to play, just a shuffle pattern right here. All right, so it's okay, there's nothing super fancy about that. It sounds all right, the rhythm is good. Now listen to it this time. Which would you rather listen to, the first one or the second one? The first one, of course, right? Because the first one is played with good, steady rhythm. When you play with rhythm that is not steady, it makes it very difficult for the listener to listen. Okay? So let's start with our first rhythm. First rhythm is mostly eighth notes and a quarter note. Now, if you need help vocalizing or understanding rhythms, be sure to check out my Rhythm Essentials course back at JAZZEDGE. So you'll notice that what I'm doing here is I'm focusing just on the vocalization approach. Like I said in my other lesson on a simple accompaniment pattern, I really find that the vocalization approach is a lot better for most students, especially with these types of rhythms. As soon as you get into 16th notes, that's where the subdivision or counting method really works much better. But when it comes to quarter notes and eighth notes, I find that the vocalization approach is a lot better and works a lot better for students. Even those students that say, oh, my rhythm is terrible, okay? So be sure to check out that Rhythm Essentials course. I hope you're enjoying the lesson. Be sure to like the video and also subscribe to my channel so you get the rest of my lessons and you can get all of the lessons as part of this course. All right, so this first rhythm, let me just clap it, vocalize it, and then we'll play something with it. So here we go. So we have D, ba, D, ba, D, ba, da. So it's D, ba, D, ba, D, ba, da. Now this vocalization approach is a vocalization method that I created. So D, ba, D, ba, D, ba, da. This is something that I've put together and I've taught thousands of students this, okay? It's part of my Jazz Kids program, homeschool piano, and also part of the JAZZEDGE program. So you don't have to use these nonsense words. You could say la 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 blah. It's like whatever works for you. These, though, I find work really well, especially for straight or swung rhythms. Now, again, I talk about that in that Rhythm Essentials course. I talk about straight versus swung, but basically straight sounds like this: D ba D ba D ba da. Okay, we would do that for like funk, rock music, Latin music, but things like blues and jazz and swing kind of stuff, we would swing the eighth note. So it would sound like D, ba, D, ba, D, ba, da. Now, what's a good way of practicing the rhythms? Well, you could just take like your 5-finger blues scale, which is these notes, C, E flat, F, F sharp, and G. Okay. Now, a lot of times I'll say F sharp or G flat. It really depends. Okay. If I'm going up, then I say F sharp. If I'm coming down, then I say G flat. But a lot of times you'll notice that I'll write it as a G flat. All right. So you could do those 5 notes, or you could even just do your regular 5-finger scale notes. That would be fine as well. So what you do is start on the very first note and just go on up. Okay. So D, ba, D, ba, D, ba, da. Notice I ran out of notes, so I came back down. D ba D ba D ba da. 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 Now, a couple of things you notice that I'm doing. I am, first of all, vocalizing the rhythm, D, ba, D, ba, D, ba, da, but I'm also trying to match the pitch as well. It kind of gives me more bang for the buck. It makes it so that, like, not only am I getting better at learning the rhythm, but now I'm also starting to intone or vocalize the pitch as well, and that gets into my ears and in my head as well. So dee ba dee ba dee ba da. Now, you don't have to play it along with the left hand right now, okay? And you don't even have to play it with those notes either. You can just clap these rhythms as well. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I like to say, okay, play it along with the left hand if you can, but if you find that it's frustrating, remember what I've said before in no bowl piano. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We're just trying to take all the BS out of playing the piano. And part of taking that BS out of playing the piano is also you going a little bit easier on yourself. Look, this stuff takes time. So start real slow. Just go right up the blues scale. D, ba, da. Come right back down. Now, do you have to start on C? No, you can start on G and go down and go back up if you want. D, ba, da. D, ba, da. You could stay on one note for all I care. D, ba, da. Nothing wrong with that. D, ba, da. Okay? You can even play a chord. D, ba, da. The main thing is that you play the rhythm, and guess what? You play it steady. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you some of the gotchas. A lot of times, what I will find, especially with adult students, is they'll do this. D, ba, da. Okay, yeah, I got it. All right, and they don't really have it. Because what they do is they don't vocalize. Because most people over 18 think like saying D, ba, da sounds super silly, right? So I'm not going to say that. Fine. The main thing is just getting that tongue to hit the top of the roof of your mouth. Believe it or not, that motion inside of your mouth really kind of links it into your body. Even if you don't want to say it out loud. Right? You didn't hear that, okay? And I still did it. I know I've sped up a little bit here. You can go a little bit slower. You don't have to go that fast. Rhythm number 2. This one is really interesting. And again, I go into more detail on the upbeats in that Rhythm Essentials course. Here in the very beginning, you see that we have an 8th rest. A lot of times I'll say, just vocalize that as a So, ba dee ba da. Or you could say nothing. But a lot of times it's kind of helpful to kind of put like a ba dee ba da. Ba dee ba da. Ba dee ba da. So now again, make sure that you vocalize the rhythm first. So say it first. Ba dee ba da. Then clap it. Ba dee ba da. Then play it. Ba dee ba da. Ba dee ba da. Again, what am I doing over here? I'm playing the 4 notes of the blues scale, maybe the 5 notes of the blues scale. Again, I can also do my major scale as well. If I do the major scale, it's not going to sound good with that minor down there. It doesn't sound all that good. I could also do my 5-finger minor scale over here as well. That's another scale that I could use to apply this rhythm to those notes. Now, in the other lesson, I was talking about a simple accompaniment pattern for beginners, okay? So a simple accompaniment pattern that you can use to accompany yourself. This lesson is talking about rhythm. The next stage of the game is then adding notes to those rhythms, and that's what I'm going to talk about in my 8 blues licks for beginners. So you got to understand the process. The first process is accompaniment, right? So you master, you kind of get down accompaniment in the left hand. The next thing that you got to get down is rhythm. You need rhythm. You need to have a solid rhythm. And then we start to apply that rhythm to notes. So at this stage, since we're just working on rhythm, we could just play one single note. Ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-da. So if you're stressing out right now about ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-da, you're stressing out about trying to apply that rhythm to notes, don't worry about it. Just play one note. Play a C, play a G. Either one of those notes would sound good, okay? Honestly, you could play any of the notes of the blues scale, but just start with a C, okay? One note, that's it. Ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-da. Play it nice and slow. Ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-da. Now, hey Willie, do I have to play that left hand? No. Ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-da. Just play along with me as I'm doing it right now. Ready, go. Oh, ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-da. Right? That's it. 3, again. Ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-da. Now, if you find that it's difficult to even play along with me, ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-da. Just vocalize it while I play, all right? So just say it. Ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-da. All right? All right, so that's rhythm number 2. Let's move on. Rhythm number 3. This one is bringing in the triplet. So this is ba-triplet, dee, ba-da. 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 That 3 there, okay, the 3 notes with the 3 over it, that's called a triplet. We vocalize it by saying triplet, right? So we don't call it a triplet, we call it a triplet. All right, that's the correct term for it. But when we vocalize it, we kind of have a little bit of fun with the word, and we call it a triplet, 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 triplet. And as you can hear, it's easy to get those 3 notes in there. Triplet, 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 triplet. A lot of times we also emphasize that first note in the triplet, right, or in the triplet, triplet, triplet. And we can have some fun with that as we go along. But for right now, just try emphasizing that first letter. Ba-triplet, dee, ba-da. Ba-triplet, dee, ba-da. I also wouldn't use your thumb when you're just playing one note. I'd probably use my 2nd, 3rd finger. So, ba-triplet, dee, ba-da. I like using the middle finger for this. It's a little bit easier. Ba-triplet, dee, ba-da. I can also support that with my 2nd finger. Ba-triplet, dee, ba-da. So you see how my 2nd finger and middle finger are together? Don't do this, like side of the hand or like side of the finger. Ba-triplet, dee, ba-da. If you want to play along with the bass line, go ahead. Ba-triplet, dee, ba-da. Right? So that's rhythm number 3. And finally, rhythm number 4. This one's a little bit more complicated, but it's not too bad. This is ba-triplet, triplet, dee, ba. Ba-triplet, triplet, dee, ba. Ba-triplet, triplet, dee, ba. Ba-triplet, triplet, dee, ba. Now the hardest part of this rhythm is the very last beat, the dee, ba. Because a lot of times students might want to go ba-triplet, triplet, dee, ba. Okay? And they make that 8th note straight. You got to remember the dee, ba. The D part of it is a little bit longer than the ba. So it's dee, ba, dee, ba. Ba-triplet, triplet, dee, ba. Try it with me. Ba-triplet, triplet, dee, ba. Again. Ba-triplet, triplet, dee, ba. Again. Ba-triplet, triplet, dee, ba. All right? And remember, if you're watching this and you're not at a piano, this is great stuff to just tap, okay? So ba-triplet, tap it on a desk or in your leg or whatever. Tapping that rhythm, vocalizing the rhythm is going to pay dividends for you. Trust me. All right, so now let's have a little bit of fun, okay? And this is where we could start to take a rhythm and we could start to expand it, blow it up, flip it around, and then create new rhythms. So you see here, this is rhythm number 1, all right? D, ba, di, ba, di, ba, da. And you notice that I've broken up the rhythm into 2 beats and 2 beats, okay? So that's typically the way we do that in 4/4 times. We see the first 2 beats and the next 2 beats. So that's what we have here. D, ba, okay? So that's 4 eighth notes there, and then 2 eighth notes and a quarter note. So the blue, right, is the first 2 beats, and the purple is the second 2 beats. Now check this out. See what happens if we flip it? Okay, and I'm just going to go back and forth between these just so you can see that. Okay, so that's the regular rhythm, right? The blue is in the front, and now when we flip it, the blue is on the back side of it. Blue's in the front, and then now blue is in the back. The 4 eighth notes in the front, now the 4 eighth notes are in the back. The 2 eighth notes and the quarter note are in the back here, and then when we flip it, the 2 eighth notes and the quarter note are now in the front. Okay, so all I did was I took this rhythm, and in fact, if I go back, I took this rhythm, I cut it in half, and took the back half of it and put it in the front. So I took this rhythm, I cut it in half, and then I flipped them around. So now I have a brand new rhythm. Di ba da, di ba di ba. Di ba da, di ba di ba. I can again apply that to a note. Di ba da, di ba di ba. Again, di ba da, di ba di ba. One more time. Here we go. Di ba da, di ba di ba. Di ba da, di ba di ba. Okay, so you can see that this is a super easy way of being able to take one rhythm and make it 2 rhythms. Now, you might ask the question, well, could I break this down into single beats and then start to move around those single beats? Sure, of course you could, okay? But you're gonna find that you might not get as much mileage out of that. So I would suggest for right now, just take the rhythm, cut it in half, flip it, and there you go. So we could do that on all of these rhythms, and guess what? We are gonna do that on all of those rhythms in the next lesson, which is the 8 blues scale licks for beginners. Okay, I'm going to show you 8 licks, and I'm going to show you how to use the 4 rhythms that we just did here, and then also 4 rhythms flipped. So thank you for joining me in this lesson. Like I said, be sure to take a look at that 8 blues scale licks for beginners, and also take a look at my accompaniment lesson as well, so you learn that simple accompaniment pattern. All right, thanks. I'll see you in the next lesson.